Kion didn't leave the Pride Lands just to find healing. He left to find answers, but what he didn't expect was Rani. At first, it wasn't some magical love at first sight moment. In fact, Rani didn't even like him. She thought he was reckless, loud, and a little too confident. But Kion, he had no idea that this lioness, the future queen of the Tree of Life, was going to change his destiny forever. And not just because of who she was, but because of how she made him feel. Let's rewind and back it up for a second. After defeating Scar's spirit, Kion had a big problem. He'd been bitten by a venomous cobra named Ushari. The venom left more than just a scar on his face. It started messing with his emotions, his judgment, and even his connection to the roar. Rafiki told him that there was only one place that might be able to help, the Tree of Life. So, whoop, off he went, with Bunga, Fuli, Beshti, Ono, and Mikini. A journey filled with dust, danger, and doubts. Kion didn't just want to be healed, he wanted to feel like himself again. But the Tree of Life wasn't exactly rolling out the red carpet for Kion and friends. When they arrived, things didn't go quite as planned. A rock slide, caused by Bunga being Bunga, blocked the entrance, and Rani, leader of the Night Pride, saw them as a threat. To make things even worse, Kion lost control and accidentally blasted Rani's brother Belial with the roar. Yeah, not really a great first impression. Rani told them to leave, that she didn't trust him. She didn't trust Kion, and honestly, Kion didn't really blame her. But something unexpected happened next. Rani told her grandmother, Queen Jana, about the visitors, but instead of being angry, Queen Jana smiled. "The roar has returned," she said.
The roar. It has finally returned.
And it was meant to come here. So she asked Rani to bring them in. Now, Rani didn't understand it, but she listened. And for the first time, she took a closer look at Kion, not as a threat, but as something else, something different. Even after being allowed into the Tree of Life, things were tense. Kion and Rani argued. She thought he was pushing too hard to help. He thought she was too stubborn to let him. He offered his help when enemies followed him to the Tree of Life. She said no. She wasn't necessarily rude, just really guarded. She didn't know Kion, and more importantly, she didn't know if she could even trust him. And then she said something that stuck with Kion. "You're not the best leader, but maybe you could become one." Oof. But here's the thing about Kion. He didn't get mad, he got thinking. Well, as days passed, Rani started seeing something in Kion she hadn't noticed before. He wasn't trying to take over. He wasn't using the roar to show off. He actually cared. And when Kion trained to control the roar better, Rani followed him to watch. What she saw blew her away. Massive rocks moved, winds roared, and power filled the air. But what struck her most was the focus in his eyes. He wasn't angry anymore. He was calm. He was balanced. He was healing. Maybe the roar wasn't just something that could help her rule. Maybe Kion was. When Makucha and his army attacked the Tree of Life, everything changed. Rani had no choice but to let Kion help. The Night Pride was trapped. The Tree of Life was under threat, and Kion was the only one who could stop them. He stepped up. He used the roar with strength and with care. And in the end, he saved everyone. That day, Rani looked at him differently. Not as a stranger, not as a leader, but as someone she might actually care about. After the battle, Kion was ready to leave. He'd come to heal, and he finally felt whole again. But Rani didn't want him to go. "Now that it's here, you should stick around," she said. And this time, she didn't mean the roar, she meant him. And that's when Kion knew. This wasn't just about healing anymore. This was about the future, one he hadn't even seen coming. Kion had come all of this way to be healed. He'd trained, he'd rested, he'd grown stronger. But more than that, he had changed. And not just because of the Tree of Life, but because of Rani. Still, duty called him back. Janja and Jasiri arrived at the Tree of Life with big news. Zira was stirring up trouble again back in the Pride Lands, so there was no time to waste. Kion and the Lion Guard had to leave. Everyone packed quickly, but before they left, Rani pulled Kion aside. "You'll always be welcome here," she said.
You and your friends will always be welcome at the Tree of Life.
But her eyes said something more. "Don't go." The way home was faster, thanks to Azad's cheetah paths. Kion even used the roar to help make the narrow trail safe for his team. But as they traveled, Kion's mind wasn't on the path. It was on her. He thought about how Rani looked at him when she let him help, how she smiled when he finally controlled the roar, how she trusted him with her kingdom, her people, maybe even her heart. Back at Pride Rock, everything had changed. Vitani had formed her own lion guard, and with peace returning, the Pride Lands didn't need Kion the same way they used to. But he had changed too, and a part of him already knew where he belonged. At first, Kion wasn't sure what to do. He still had the roar. His team still had the marks. They were the lion guard, right? But then came the test. A challenge between Kion's lion guard and Vitani's new team, just to see who should protect the Pride Lands now. They both gave it their all, and in the end, Kion saw something in Vitani that reminded him of Rani. Strength, leadership, trust. That's when he remembered what Ascari once told him. Only the one who can let go of the roar completely can truly master it. So, Kion did something bold. He passed on the roar of the elders to Vitani. The moment was powerful. Letting go of something so tied to who he was, it wasn't easy. But Kion wasn't losing power, he was stepping into something even bigger. The skies shimmered, and just when it looked like the roar was gone forever, it returned to Kion. Because Ascari wasn't just watching, he was guiding. The roar was meant to stay at the Tree of Life, and so was Kion. With one final goodbye to his family, Kion and the Lion Guard began their journey back, not as lost travelers, but as the protectors of a new home. When he returned to the Tree of Life, Rani was stunned. She hadn't stopped thinking about him. She'd missed him, and now he was back. Not just for a visit, not just to help, he was staying. Animals from both the Pride Lands and the Tree of Life gathered around. Even McKinney's parents came to witness the moment. And then it happened. McKinney stood tall and proudly announced Kion as the king of the Tree of Life, right beside Queen Rani. Two lions, once strangers, now stand side by side, equal, united. It wasn't just a happy ending, it was a new beginning. Some people fall in love fast. For Kion and Rani, it took time. At first, there were doubts, fights, misunderstandings. But that's what made their bond real. Rani didn't fall for Kion because of his roar, and Kion didn't stay because it was easy. They challenged each other, they listened, they learned, and most of all, they helped each other grow. Kion showed Rani she didn't have to be perfect to be a queen, and Rani showed Kion he didn't have to lead with power, he could lead with love. Looking back, Kion realized something important. It wasn't the roar that made him strong, it wasn't even being a prince. It was the people, no, the lions who believed in him. His father gave him wisdom, his mother gave him love, his friends gave him loyalty. But Rani, she gave him the courage to be himself, to slow down, to listen, to stay. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Kion didn't plan on falling in love. He didn't expect the Tree of Life to become his home. But the moment Rani looked past the roar and saw him, that's when everything changed. Because sometimes all it takes is one lioness to help you see the path you are always meant to walk. Would Kion have chosen to stay if Rani hadn't asked him to? Or was it fate all along? Let us know what you think in the comments. And until next time, Hakuna Matata.